The F1 summer break has started and we are all pretty bored these days. There's no Max Verstappen complaining about his car or Kimi Antonelli being favored by Mercedes for almost a month. But that doesn't mean you cannot stay connected to F1 because we as YouTubers are here for just that. So in this video I'm bringing you some F1 facts that I guarantee that a lot of you still don't know about. And before we start with the first fact, I'm going to do another YouTuber thing and ask you to subscribe. Please, could you do it? Let's get started with the first fact on F1 summer break itself. Did you know that the summer break concept of F1 wasn't always a thing? Back in the day, there were very few races, mostly around 15 a season. But each passing decade ever since expanded the sport to cover more global audiences. The 2000s saw the number rise to 19 races per year, and the 2010s saw it go beyond 20 races. But with every decade, another thing happened. Each F1 team were no longer just a racing company. All of them had transformed into global brands, especially the likes of Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari and McLaren. With bigger teams came larger workforces that went beyond just racing operations. Now, teams needed marketing, production, brand events and many more departments. And since the number of races has increased up to 24 a year, which is an average of 2 to 3 races a month, there is very little time for the workers to actually have a holiday. While most senior members and drivers leave the racetrack pretty much hours after the race ends, almost every other worker has to wait behind to wrap up things. And once that is done, they take basic flights for the next race or back to the team headquarters. The FIA spotted this workload and realized that they needed to do something. The FIA officially introduced the summer break into the sporting regulations, which states that all competitors must observe a mandatory shutdown period of 14 consecutive days during the months of July and/or August. But there's more. The rules during the 14-day period are incredibly strict. During this time, teams cannot carry out any work related to the performance or running of the car. This includes designing, developing or producing car parts, operating wind tunnels or CFD simulations, running simulator sessions, holding meetings, phone calls or even sending emails regarding car performance. So nothing related to the car can be discussed in these 14 days. This is especially important to stop the top teams with immense funds to gain an advantage during the break. Talking about funds, have you ever wondered how much money does each F1 team actually make? Now, although these numbers are secret and not publicly available, even the worst F1 team makes more than $50 million a season. Now, you might think that the weaker F1 team should be given more money to help them become competitive, but that is the opposite of what happens. The payments to the teams are governed by something called the Concord Agreement. This is a highly secretive and complex financial document that divides the money based on multiple factors. Let's take the 2024 season's payout. The total payout to the teams was reported at $1.266 billion. But before the cars even hit the track for 2025, approximately 5% of that massive pot is exclusively given to Ferrari, which is more than $60 million. Why, you may ask? This is called the historic bonus. Because of Ferrari's status as the longest serving team, they are historically significant. And regardless of how badly they perform, this 5% cut is reserved for them. The next factor of the payout is called the 10-year success bonus, which is roughly 20% of the pot. About $250 million is divided based on a point system that rewards teams who have consistently finished in the top 3 of the championship over the last decade. So, teams like McLaren, who are back to the top in the last few years, only got around $17 million because of the 10-year performance. On the other hand, Red Bull, Ferrari and especially Mercedes got the biggest payouts. Now, the most important factor of the payouts is the actual season performance. Roughly 75% of the pot, which is around $950 million, gets divided based on the actual standings for that season. Basically, this is a pure performance payout. Perform well, get paid more, get funds to develop more and continue performing. But if you don't perform, then you get paid less, get less funds to improve, which makes it even more difficult to compete. I like calling this the brutal payout system because this essentially means that teams like Red Bull, Mercedes and Ferrari always have that advantage that keeps them at the top, while teams like McLaren took more than a decade to get back to the top. And Williams, headed by the over-promising James Vowles, keeps getting worse. These are the 2024 payouts of the top 4 teams. Ferrari is by far the top earner at roughly $250 million. Mercedes sits second at $208 million. Red Bull takes third with $183 million. McLaren ends up fourth with $149 million. Talking about James Falls, do you know the team boss of each 2026 F1 team? Well, Mercedes has, as you might know, team principal Toto Wolff, who also owns 33% of stake in the team. Red Bull Racing has Laurent Mekies, who was appointed mid-2025 after Christian Horner, who was team boss for 2 decades, was sacked by Red Bull. Then Ferrari has Fred Vasseur, who I like calling Big Fred, who was appointed in 2023 to replace Mattia Binotto. McLaren has Andrea Stella and not Zach Brown. Brown is the CEO while Stella is the team principal, something a lot of people confuse. Then Aston Martin has the legendary Adrian Newey, who is basically doing double duty because Newey is known for his technical brilliance but had to take the team principal role starting January 1st, 2026. Alpine has a weird case in which they don't have a dedicated team principal. Instead, Flavio Briatore took team principal duties after Oliver Oakes departed in May 2025. Williams obviously has team principal James Valls, the people pleaser. I swear, every time he says something these days, I just don't believe it anymore. It's a lot of overpromise and even more of under-delivering. Racing Bulls has Alan Permane, who is a paddock veteran with over 35 years of experience and became team principal after Red Bull promoted Laurent Mekies to the senior team. Haas has team principal Ayo Komatsu, who replaced Gunther Steiner. Audi has Mattia Binotto, who became team principal after Jonathan Wheatley abruptly left the team in March 2026, stating personal reasons. And finally, the newest team on the grid, Cadillac, has Gramel Lodon, I don't know how to pronounce this name, man, who was appointed by General Motors, which is a bit weird, but okay, if that works for them. Now, who is my favorite? Obviously, it's Big Fred. Like, come on, I gave him a name. And I'm pretty sure it's quite obvious who is not my favorite. Definitely not James Falls. That is it for this video. If you liked the video, then actually show it by liking the video. And if you want to see part 2 of this series, then actually show it by subscribing. That's it. Bye bye.